Hi guys. I forgot my microphone. um, so I'm Kate. I'm super excited about today. I'm really glad to see so many of you are joining me. I see you are already writing something in the chat. Please let me know that you can see me and hear me well. Yes, we are live. Could you say, I can see you, I can hear you? I'd really appreciate that. Perfect. Perfect, guys and girls. So, let's begin. My name is Kate. I'm the head of user support and I'm a meteorologist, but I don't do forecasts these days. I'm pretty sure many of you have received some emails from me when you contacted user support. Joining me here today are some of my colleagues. They will be helping me with the chat and everything. So the reason for this webinar is that over the years I realized that the more people in general get to know Windy.app, the more they like it and the more they use it. A perfect scenario is when your friend shows you around Windy.app and tells you about the features you both need for the activity you do. Of course, there are videos on this YouTube channel and there are tips and guides in the app, but I thought that it would be even better if for tonight I would be that friend that shows you around Windy.app. So I've chosen 10 features out of dozens. They would help you get a better accuracy of the forecast. They would help you make decisions and in general save time and make your life easier. The features I've picked are useful for any outdoor activity because I wanted this webinar to be useful to anyone who's into outdoors. And the last thing I want to mention is, I don't know if you know that, but Windy.app is used for as much as 30 different outdoor activities. Okay, so I hope you will try the features that I will be talking about. Just a few comments about the chat of this live stream. 4 points. Number one, there will be time for questions at the end, so I encourage you to post your questions there while I'm presenting, and my colleagues will collect them and give it to me at the end. Number two, I will be asking you questions, and I would really appreciate it if you don't leave me hanging and actually answer something. There will be polls and stuff like that. Number three, so this is the first webinar like this, so I would really appreciate it if you give us feedback on was this webinar what you expected? Do we need to do it again? What topics do you want us to cover next? And so on. And the last point is I will be mentioning both free and pro features. So we have arranged a promo code for you, for those of you who don't have pro yet. So you could try. It will give you free access for 7 days. My colleagues will post the instructions into the chat, and it will also be available in the description of this video stream. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous, but I will be less nervous soon. Okay, so you're very welcome to share this promo code with your friends and also the link to this webinar. Hopefully it will be useful for them. Okay, so before we begin, I just wanted to say a few words about Windy.app. So Windy.app is a professional weather app. Sorry, I forgot. Regarding how you can use this promo code, how you can activate it, you would need to follow the link and then choose your login and then log in the same way in the app. That way your account will become pro. Sorry, I didn't mention it before. Anyway, talking about Windy.app, Windy.app is a professional weather app for almost any outdoor activity. The team behind Windy.app is very outdoorsy too, so you can say we're making the app for ourselves. But a surprising 20 million people also use it. Windy.app has been around for almost 8 years, and we have even been recognized by the World Meteorological Organization. It's like the World Health Organization, but for weather, and we have been recognized as the best app for outdoors. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so for those of you who have just joined us, my name is Kate. I am from user support. I'm the head of user support. I'm a meteorologist, and I'm about to go over the 10 features that would be useful for any outdoor activity. So the features I'll be mentioning would be located either on the weather map or on the spot forecast page. We will not have time to cover the weather archive, weather station page, and a few others because it would be just too much. We had to focus on something today. So the first feature of the 10 is the weather map. By default, you see wind speed and direction, but you can also, if you click here, you can switch to wind gusts, swell, and precipitation. Not everybody knows that. Okay, moving on. Again, on the map, you can choose the types of spots you want to see on the map. We go into the settings, as you can see on my slides, then spots on the map, and then you will see a big list of types of spots you can choose. I love this because this helps you discover new spots for your outdoor activity, and also when you choose where you're going, what region you're going to, you can choose the one where there are many spots for your activity. Okay, moving on, and still speaking about spots, did you know that you can create and name as many spots as you want? I'm really curious. Can you answer in the, so my colleagues have created a little poll. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone so I can see your replies. So did you know that you can create a spot? Yes or no? I knew that. Okay, so most people knew that. That's cool. But just in case you didn't, I'm going to go through this process. We have a animation here, so you can click on any point, then name a spot, choose its activity, and then you can choose to make it public. This means that everyone will see it. Or you can keep it your secret spot and only share it with your friends. Okay. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask, so we call them, these places, we call them spots, but I'm wondering if this name spot actually sounds natural to you. Because, well, I know that there are kite spots and surfing spots, but maybe for other activities you might not want to call it a spot. So if you call a location with like a bit of infrastructure for some outdoor activity, not a spot but something else, let me know please in the chat. I will take that into account. I forgot to mention, so I talk with our users a lot, and over the years I've discovered 3 main reasons why people create their spots. So first of all is they want to add it to favorites so they can instantly access it from the main page. The second reason is that they want to share it with their friends, so it will be easier to discuss the weekend in the WhatsApp chat with your friends. And the third reason is that you can set up a wind alert there. Okay, now I think we're ready to move on. Yes, we're ready to move on to the spot page, and We are first going to look at what parameters do you have on your spot. So I've also talked to users a lot, and I know that not everybody knows this, but if you click on the area that is highlighted on my slide, you'll actually see the names of each row, what it stands for. And when you are on the page, I want you to look at all the parameters and see, are you happy with what you've got? Do you want them in a different order perhaps? Now I'm going to show you how you can control what you see. Oops, sorry. You can, so this sailboat icon means it's a sail preset profile. If you click on that, you will see different types of preset profiles for many popular activities. And if that's not good enough, you can create your own custom profile, so you can have any parameter you want in any order you want. But I will not go into details about this today, but you can ask questions or contact our user support if you have any issues. So when you change the preset profile, you can also, it sometimes changes something we call a Windy bar. So I have highlighted it on my slide. This thing is the 10-day forecast overview for wind speed, and I love it because you just one glance and you understand if anything good is going to happen on the spot. And it's great for quick understanding of the situation on the spot. And on the surf profile, this windy bar will show not wind but swell energy, and in the snow profile it will show not the wind but precipitation, so you can see when there will be fresh snowfall. I'm always wondering how you guys call this. So we call this a windy bar, but my guess is that maybe you call it something else, and I'm really interested to find out how you call this. So please let me know in the chat how you call this spot. Thanks for answering. I was really afraid that no one will answer my questions. I'm really glad you're doing it. Okay, and I forgot to mention that we have a little poll. Did you know about the preset profiles? Yes. Okay. So how do you call the windy bar? Forecast line. Okay, that's a good one. Fun bar. I love that. We might use it maybe in some materials for the app. Okay, let's move on. The other thing on the spot page that I wanted to mention is something we call wind and swell rows. It's highlighted on my slide. It's the blue arrow represents the swell, and the green arrow represents the wind. I love this feature because you don't have to remember the topography of your spot and try to imagine where the wind will be coming from, where the swell will be coming from. You just can see it very clearly on the wind and swell map. And the other thing you can do is you can scroll through the forecast and find the best place and time, the best combination of wind and swell for your activity. I think it's a great visual aid. Okay. So while we're here, we're going to take a look at the spot settings. They are under the sailboat icon. You can see so general settings and units. This is all pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to mention a few things that might be important to some of you. So you can view the forecast in 1 hour interval and 3 hours interval. You can, I would say you should put in your correct weight so that windsurf size recommendation and kite size recommendation would be correct. And the windrows. You could use the map underlay or the satellite underlay. I personally prefer the satellite underlay in general, or the background. You can say underlay or the background, because, well, you instantly understand what the spot looks like. And for surfing, for example, you can even understand the type of break, like point break, reef break, and beach break. I really like those. I really like looking at these images. Okay, we've picked up some good pace here. We have a few more features to go. Before we move any further, I wanted to take a sip of water and catch my breath. For those of you who have missed the beginning, I'm Kate. I'm the head of user support and the meteorologist, and I'm going over the most useful features in Windy.app for anyone who's into outdoors. And if you don't have Pro version yet, but you want to check it out, we have promo code for 7 days, and my colleagues will post instructions on how to activate it. You basically need to follow the link and then fill in the code name, then choose your login, and then log in the same way in the app. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm going to catch my breath. I still have, we're going to make it in time. We should still have time for questions. Okay, so we are, I think, in the most useful part of the webinar. It's about weather models and something we call a model picker. I bet you don't call it a model picker. It just means something where you can pick a model. I have highlighted it on the slide. So now that we have chosen the parameters that you want the forecast for on the spot page, and they're in the correct order, and you're happy with the settings, it's time to choose the source of the forecast, because it can influence the accuracy you're going to get. This is what happens in user support from time to time. A user would write to us, "Hello, Windy, your forecast is wrong." And we say, "Well, thank you for contacting us. Could you please say which weather model have you been using?" And the user would say, "What is a weather model?" I'm wondering, do you know what a weather model is? My colleagues are going to create a poll about that. So you can answer. So do you know what a weather forecasting model is? I know what a weather forecasting model is because I'm a meteorologist. Okay, lots of people know what a weather forecasting model is. Anyhow, I thought about, I came up with a metaphor for a weather forecasting model for you for this webinar, and I don't want to waste it. I still want to share it with you. Okay, so imagine you get sick and you come to a doctor, and the first thing that he or she will ask is, "How are you feeling right now? And what is the history of your sickness?" You're going to tell that to the doctor, and then the doctor will go, and then he or she will give a forecast of what's going to happen to you. Now, weather forecasting is a lot like that. We collect information about the state of the atmosphere right now, and then a little bit of history, and we give it to the weather model. The weather model goes, and gives us a forecast. In Windy.app, we have forecasts from 11 different models, 3 global ones and a few regional ones like HRRR, Arome, and Icon D2. They come from world's top weather forecasting centers like NOAA, ECMWF, and DWD. We had our own forecasting model called WRF8. It's currently down due to some technical issues, but our developers are working their magic to get it back up, so I hope it will be up and running soon. Now let's get back to the app. For example, you open the Spot and then you see several weather models in the model picker. And what can you do? There are 3 options. In general, you can go about it. The first one is you can choose the default model or any random model. And this would work in many cases because the quality of weather forecasts these days is very high. I'm talking 98% high for the first 24 hours. But this might not work if you are in a tricky weather situation, like a fresh cyclone is forming, or if you're in a tricky terrain, for example, the coast or the mountains. In that case, just any random model might not work. Option number 2 is you can use the best model for the Spot, and case number 3, you can use the compare mode. I will talk about the last 2 in more detail. Okay, so the best model. I know it's a bit cheesy, but in the app's interface we have to keep the words really short because otherwise it doesn't fit. That's why we chose to call it the best model, but it's actually the most accurate model for the Spot. So if we go back to the doctor metaphor, let's say, how would you know that a doctor is any good? You would want to see some statistics on how well he or she has been forecasting for other patients. And we can do the same in meteorology. We have weather stations that are recording the wind that actually occurred, and we have weather forecasting models that give forecasts. We compare the 2, and then we can see which model did better. This is what we do routinely in the app because we have data from weather stations and the forecasts. You can see it if you scroll down to the weather station section on the Spot page. So it will look like you can just choose the best model. That would be the model that had the highest score in our comparison. So if you know a Spot well, if you have been following the weather, you probably know what the best model is and you don't need our recommendations. But if you're going to an unknown location or you're just not there to see how different models are performing, I recommend you choose the best model on the Spot. Okay, now an even better option would be to use all available models for the Spot. So in terms of my medicine metaphors, doctor metaphors, the compare mode is like a concilium of doctors or several doctors giving you the forecast. So you on the model picker you can choose compare, and this on this slide this is the compare for wind. This is a different case. So how do you read it? Well, it's relatively simple. When the lines are close together, this means that all models agree on what the forecast will be, and there's a very high chance they're right. If the lines are far apart, like after 9 a.m. on this, in this example, it's better not to trust the forecast and maybe choose an alternative spot or wait for the forecast to update and see how the picture would change. Okay, I probably don't need to tell you this, but looking at the forecast would not be enough to make a decision. You have to take your situation into account. And then you would choose either the optimistic approach or the pessimistic approach, as I call it. An example, you're going sailing with your kids and your dog. You want to take the pessimistic approach and make sure that none of the models are giving high winds or high gusts. On the other hand, if you're a kite surfer and you really want to go kiting, but you see that only one weather model is giving good winds, you might want to choose the optimistic approach and choose to believe that there will be this wind, because the worst case scenario, you will end up drinking beer in the beach bar or something like that, which is not so bad. Okay, so the compare mode, it doesn't have to look like this. It could look like this, so you can create your own compare mode with the custom profiles. You can do it for wind, you can do it for clouds and precipitation, and any parameter, basically. Okay, last stop. I see that I'm running a little bit late with my presentation, but I will still answer some of the questions you have posted. Okay, so our last stop is spot info and the chat section. Why I think it's important to know about it. So I probably don't need to tell you this, but it's not enough, the forecast is not enough to make a decision. As I mentioned before, you have to understand what your situation is, but also you have to understand what spot will you be at. Meaning you have to understand how the spot works. And this is especially important to do your research when you're going to an unfamiliar spot. So for many popular spots, we have spot information, where you can find things like working wind directions and the kind of seabed you will find. You will also see reviews from other users and photos. We really encourage you to post reviews and photos, because it does help a lot. It helps to make a decision. It helps to not be disappointed. So there's that. Another thing is the chat section. There people usually discuss the weather forecast, what someone arrives at the spot and would like report the wind is good or the wind is no good. People would ask for recommendations, like is there a guide, is there a good instructor, and so on. And also a very popular section is like the lost and found, because people would say, I lost my surfboard, this is a picture, or I found a glove, this is a picture. And then we have reunited quite a few people with their belongings. Okay, guys, this is the 10 features I wanted to share with you. Could you say, if I wonder if anyone is still with me, or I bored you to death? Looks like some people are still watching. Great. So I wanted to ask you, what percentage of the features I mentioned today do you use? Is it 100%, so you didn't really have to come to this webinar? Or is it more like 50%? So was there anything new for you today? I'm wondering. Okay, let me know in the chat. Okay, you're still there. I'm really happy. Okay, I can see a question. So now, ta-da, questions. So I see, what model is the Windy bar based on? It's based on GFS 27. If you, by the way, we are always open to ideas. So for example, if you want us to do something like a new feature, new data, you are always welcome to contact our user support. And we will take it to the team and see how it can be done. Okay, now I'm gonna see what my team. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I'm wondering where my questions are. Someone says, Bob says, take us through a step-by-step use in 3 minutes. I actually have a video about this. I will give it to you somehow. Good to learn how to customize. Yes, I'm sure I could. I mean, we'll see how you react to this webinar. If you like it, we're going to do more of those, and then we can cover all sorts of things like customize. Can you create a spot with GPS? You can create a spot. You can find a spot with coordinates in the iOS version of the app. We'll think about GPS, definitely. Okay. You know what, I'm going to ask my colleagues, or maybe I will do it myself. I will post the step-by-step video a little later on. So someone is asking, Samuel, could webcams be integrated? We have been looking into that. It's very hard to do. It takes a lot of resources, and we have not had conclusive feedback from people that webcams are needed. If you have an opinion about webcams, you're very welcome to submit it to our user support. Okay. Okay, I think we should wrap up at the moment. I'm so excited that we made this webinar and so many of you came. The video for this webinar will be available on our YouTube page. We will send you an email asking for your feedback for those of you who registered for this webinar. So just a few last things just to recap is that if you want to try Pro, if your friends want to try Pro, you're very welcome to share a promo code we have created for this webinar. My colleagues will post instructions in the chat, and there is something in the description also. Another thing is that you're very welcome to submit spot reviews and photos for spots. This is great for the outdoor community. And as a head of user support, I want to say you're always welcome to contact our user support. We love feedback, we love the ideas, and honestly, I think we have the greatest users in the world because of how much you write to us and how much useful things you say to us. Okay, I think this is all for today. I hope to see you again, and please share this webinar with anyone who is interested in Windy.app. Okay, so this is the end. Okay. Bye-bye.